Everybody, Brian Good here. Welcome to Storm Talk. Kind of going back to the old title here for the thunderstorms rolling through, and then I'll do some earliest alert here in a few moments. First off, I'd love to see our experimental GOES 16 satellite data now into our systems. Nice to see that resolution being so well defined now. It's going to be a lot of fun looking at these images in the coming days. But you can see some of the cloud cover now in western Kentucky, but mainly just a clear sky overhead and some hazy clouds off to the north, more debris clouds from all the mess that took place overnight to in the upper Midwest portion of the country. All the action, though, today certainly is up here close to the front. It's more of like a stalled front located in this area, then more of a cold front with a area of low pressure moving into Iowa, and that's what's going to kick up the severe weather today, all of that again to the north. So how are things going to play out for us? Well, here is the RPM model shows, other than maybe a pop-up this afternoon, can't roll it out, don't see it being a big deal. Now, as we head into the overnight, we look fine. Tomorrow morning, roughly about this time, can't rule out a spotty shower popping up around the Wabash, maybe southern Indiana, but overall, anything organized looks to be kept at a minimum. Then, as we head into the afternoon hours, we'll start to get the heating of the day kicking in, and nice little impulse of stronger winds. Nothing off the chain, but a little burst of wind is going to be tracking right across between 64 and 70 in the afternoon hours, and that's going to kick up some clusters of thunderstorms as well. How they all evolve and how they produce outflow boundaries, then turn and shift in different directions, that will all be determined tomorrow. But in general, it's going to start north of us, and then we'll see these clusters work their way to the south and east, depending on how the outflow boundaries work, and even in some cases, some decent little bowing segments here for some stronger winds. And by the time we get to midnight, everything will calm down. However, the front itself doesn't disappear. It should be located mainly in this area by this point, which means any activity that blossoms on Friday will be along and south of where that front will be. So mainly a Kentucky event for Friday. And we'll get into the parameters here on that here in just a second. Here's Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. This will be updated, by the way, in about 4 hours or so. But you can see it's aiming the slight risk more toward that pocket of wind that's going to be tracking eastbound. But it wouldn't surprise me that, we're going to get warnings pretty much anywhere. Whether you're in the yellow or you're in the green, I think that it's pretty much the same threat here, really. For clusters of thunderstorms with damaging winds, a lot of lightning, got to stress that. But again, no warnings are issued for lightning. Some hail possible. Trail threat is there, but it's very, very low and will likely be found more toward the stronger wind fields, so likely more in this area. But the bowing segments can produce some gusty winds, and that, again, can be all the way down even south of the green area of marginal, so it wouldn't surprise me there for Thursday, late afternoon to evening. Friday itself, as I talked about, the front moves in, so it's mainly a Kentucky event at that point. That pocket of energy we were tracking tomorrow afternoon across Indiana and Ohio, it's into the Mid-Atlantic states, Washington, D.C., by the time we get into Friday, so that will at least help the severity a bit for portions of Kentucky. When we look at the timing out here, we're going for a high of 93 today. The heat index can get up there near 98. Now, tomorrow, I think we can actually get hotter than today, about 94, which will match it for the hottest we've been so far this year, summer. The heat index is going to be higher as well because we have more moisture thrown at us tomorrow, pulling up ahead of the front. So the heat index could actually crack 100 degrees tomorrow. Now, how long we stay at that point, or can we go further than 94, will be determined by those thunderstorms developing to our north and how quickly they produce the cirrus blow-off clouds over us, and or the actual thunderstorms themselves build our way. And that's why you see the numbers drop there at 6 o'clock. It may be later than that before they actually move into the area. Therefore, we won't be 82. We'll still be around 90 or so at 6 o'clock. But you get the idea. Once they hit, we'll have a drop, and then we'll see activity move into central and southern Kentucky. When you look at the parameters here, I know it's hard to read this map, but this is Louisville right here. This is the PWatts, the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. A lot of it is around here for Indiana, Ohio, Illinois for tomorrow afternoon. So again, prolific lightning makers out of this, and some heavy downpours. So there will be some flash flood warnings, I'm sure, issued in spots, especially in Indiana, which has been hit hard the past couple of days. When you look at instability, it's certainly there, mainly across southern areas of Indiana. That's going to be enough for them to feed on for the afternoon period. The wind fields, again, that little pocket of wind tracking between 64 and 70 off to the east. That is where your best, more organized areas of bowing segments and even a small trail threat will take place. But even that is, could be found even all the way down to I-64. But it's not a big deal. I mean, these are not crazy off-the-chain winds here, guys. When you look at Friday, everything shifts south. cold front now bearing down on the Ohio River, so the higher moisture is over Kentucky. Very humid start today, rainy. Indiana, you guys will, if you have any rain around early in the day on Friday for you in Indiana, it won't last long, and you'll be the winners for most of the day because you'll be drying out first and getting some sunshine. The wind fields, not as impressive because if you remember the map earlier, it was showing the core of that stronger wind heading toward Washington, D.C. So you don't have a lot of wind energy to work with to keep them going for a while as far as organized severe, but you will have the instability around. So I just still think we'll have some downburst winds, flash flooding issues, and some warnings for severe thunderstorms that could still take place even for our Kentucky counties on Friday. But the threat will be just a bit lower than what it'll be to the north of us on Thursday. I hope that all made sense. All right, now for the weekend. GFS, Euro, Canadian. Pink area, that's hot. All right, it's the core of the heat. Notice this little low, this little shortwave dipping down across the Great Lakes. That is going to allow for that cooler weather this weekend, and it's going to try to at least move down into the mid-Atlantic and kind of stall out this heat. It's going to try its best to hold it off and give us at least maybe 2 or 3 days in the upper 80s. We'll take it. I know it's not like great. It's not like 70, but we'll take it, and it may happen because there's decent agreement here in the models. There will be that little troughiness in the eastern Ohio Valley. Now, it's gone as we get into about a week from today. We're all into the peaking zone here. We're getting into the core of the heat. Ensembles agree on that, so here come the 90s. Now, here's where the models begin to diverge later next week toward the next weekend, 22nd of July. GFS is trying to drop in like a backdoor cold front here. Another trough digs in, and that is going to try to push the heat back a bit to more of the southwest. The Euro is not as aggressive with that idea. It does flatten out the ridge, so the heat will be there, but it will not be as, the mid 90s, probably drop back down to about 90, 91. And the ensembles are kind of varying on that idea. I think the idea that GFS has, though, matches the pattern we've had so far this summer. So, to me, that looks to be more probable. We'll see. Either way, if it doesn't happen then, it looks likely to happen later in the month because even the ensembles show that trough is going to come back. We're going to get back into that stormy pattern of cold fronts every few days, and the core of the heat is going to be back into the southern plains in the southwest. We will see how it plays out. Enjoy the dry weather today, but stay cool the best you can.